Okay, we got to react to this. So this is on MSNBC Morning Joe, and they're bringing on Frank Luntz because he had a Republican focus group. And what's interesting is how suddenly the media cares about what Republicans have to say when it fits their narrative. To be clear, I love both Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. They're not going to divide me at all. The media is definitely all in on Team DeSantis. They're all in. And I love how suddenly they respect the opinion of GOP voters now that they're trying to push this DeSantis narrative, this anti-Trump, pro-DeSantis narrative. Let's listen to this, and then we're going to talk a little more about it. Here we go.
Let's bring in right now political strategist and pollster Frank Luntz. He recently led a focus group with one-time Trump voters to get their thoughts on the former president and the man who could be Trump's biggest obstacle in reclaiming the Republican Party's nomination in 2024. That is, of course, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. So, Frank, tell us about the focus group. What were you looking for? What did you hear?
Well, first, we wanted to gather Trump voters, and many of these people had voted for Trump twice. Everyone had voted for him, at least in 2016 or 2020. And we wanted to know where they stood now that he's announced, now that it looks like the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, will be his opponent. We wanted to know how they felt about the man who they used to idolize. And you know what? They still do, but not the same as they used to. It's changed.
Yeah, well, you asked a group of the Republican voters to briefly describe Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. Let's take a look to see what they had to say.
First, one word or phrase that you would use to describe Donald Trump right now.
Stay off Twitter.
Jamie from Iowa.
I was just going to say the same thing. His new one that he's on, I think he needs to take a break from that one.
Becky.
A narcissist.
Lisa.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Wait a minute. Did they say that all of these people voted for Trump twice? And now you're calling Trump a narcissist? It took you voting for the man twice. And the fact that he's been in the public eye for all of these decades, now you've decided he's a narcissist and that's a bad thing? Are you kidding me? What a bunch of crap. So again, is that not what I heard? They said all of these were multiple-time Trump voters.
Andrew.
Tired.
John.
Unsettling.
Melody.
Unsettling? Now he's unsettling, but the other two times you voted for him, that he wasn't unsettling then, but now he's unsettling. Okay.
High hopes.
Marie.
Mistake.
John.
I have to confirm this. Here we go.
Looks like the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. They still do. And you know what? They still do. Now that he's announced, now that for Trump twice, everyone had voted, and many of these people had voted for Trump twice. Everyone had voted for him, at least in 2016 or 2020.
So every one of these people have at least voted for him once. And now he's unsettling. And most of them voted twice.
Mistake.
John from North Dakota.
Unrelenting.
Kathy.
Still right.
Eric.
Divisive.
Now he's divisive.
Jim.
Overdone.
John from Georgia.
Fighter.
David from California.
Racist.
Now he's a racist? So he wasn't a racist when you voted for him last time, apparently. But now he's a racist. Oh, my God. This is ridiculous.
Jeff from Texas.
Sanctimonious.
Stacy from Indiana.
Businessman.
Nancy from Illinois.
Calculated.
I'm going to do the same thing now with the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. I'm going to go in the exact opposite order.
Promising.
Stacy from Indiana.
Oh, geez. Interesting.
Jeff from Texas.
Badass.
Kathy from Pennsylvania.
A leader.
Eric from North Carolina.
Hopeful.
Jim from Indiana.
Rising.
John David from Georgia.
I say the same thing. Fighter.
David from California.
Promising.
Andrew from South Carolina.
Leader.
John from California.
Visionary.
Melody from Washington.
Amazing.
Marie from New York.
The future.
John from North Dakota.
No apologies.
Lisa from New York.
Gutsy.
Becky from Virginia.
Future of the party.
Jamie from Iowa.
Refreshing leader.
Gregory from Nevada.
Future of the party.
So John from California, who has Space Mountain behind him, which that looks like the Walt Disney World version of Space Mountain. You're a big DeSantis guy. I'm supposed to believe that. So John from California is a big DeSantis guy with his background of Space Mountain at Walt Disney World. It's not completely outside of the realm of possibility. I enjoy the Disney parks, but to use that as your background when you're on this type of political call, so you can be part of a focus group, it's just interesting.
So, Frank, we got some very different responses there. When DeSantis was being asked about it, it was all positive. Some words like promising, interesting, visionary, the future. Trump, there were some positives, fighter, unrelenting, still right, but also things like unsettling, narcissist, stay off of Twitter, divisive, racist. What does that tell?
Racist. Did you hear how he said it? Racist. Here we go.
Narcissist, stay off of Twitter, divisive, racist. What does that tell you?
They're tired. They still appreciate him. They still think he was a great president. That hasn't changed. But they now look at him and they say, why all this chaos? Why all this fussing and fighting? Isn't there a better way? And frankly, a lot of them are angry at him for the candidates that he supported and his lack of support for them when they needed it most. Go take a look, and this is something we've not talked about, how much money Trump raised in 2022 and how much actually went to the candidates. If you tell Republican Trump voters that he raised over $100 million and donated only 15% of that or less to those candidates, they get angry. Trump.
When has it ever been the responsibility of a presidential candidate to fund other people's campaigns within the party? When has that ever been the standard? But now we're going to use that as a negative against Trump, even though his record is still insane. Republicans have control of the House. They won the popular vote by 5%. But let's paint a narrative that Trump is this horrible person. Also, I love how much respect they have for GOP voters suddenly when they can build an anti-Trump narrative around it. Suddenly they care about Trump voters when they can build an anti-Trump narrative around it. It's insane. Now, this is Frank Luntz. This is back in 2016, by the way, okay?
Republican side, Trump now has a base of somewhere between 15 and 18%. That'll stay with him no matter what he says, no matter what he does. Now imagine, who would have thought that you could criticize George Will, Charles Krauthammer, Megyn Kelly? He's gone after me for calling me a dunce. If my mom was alive, she would have called him up and ridiculed him. My mother spent a lot of money sending me to Oxford.
You said on Friday you were witnessing the destruction of a candidate, but he seems stronger than ever. I mean,
yeah. So Frank Luntz said the destruction of a candidate, but as she said, he's stronger than ever. This is 2016 when they were trying to paint this anti-Trump narrative around Trump. Then
he's going to stay in this race. There were 24 million people that didn't turn off the channel. They stayed and watched.
And that's because social media is no longer a reflection of politics. It is now driving politics. We used to be critical of the cable news channels for separating and isolating politics. Social media is more negative, it's more powerful, and it is determining the tone of the campaign.
So here's what I thought was interesting. After retweeting someone who called her a bimbo, and it went even further against Megyn Kelly, Scott Walker on this show, when we asked him, would you say those comments were inappropriate? He didn't. He then over the weekend did say they were inappropriate. And then you saw Jeb Bush say, how can we insult 53% of the electorate? You see Carly Fiorina and you see Lindsey Graham. now is it incumbent on these other Republicans in the field to sort of distance themselves from Donald Trump and call the comments for what they are?
Well, they're afraid to do so because they're afraid this group at some point will have to go somewhere.
Meaning his base of support.
Meaning his base.
So this is the clown that's doing the focus group. I just wanted to qualify how this guy was out of touch in 2016 and he's still out of touch now because he is a clown.
Voters are fed up with all the Trump-focused hysteria, and they want someone different, and they see Ron DeSantis at this point as being different.
That was projection right there. The voters are fed up with Donald Trump, and they see Ron DeSantis as a way to move on. No, that's the media. That's what the media sees. Ron DeSantis will go on to be one of the great politicians of our lifetime, but it's not his time right now. It's Trump's time.
It's interesting. We were talking earlier about establishment Republicans turning on Donald Trump. And for Donald Trump, that really doesn't mean too much. I tell you, I gave a speech following.
So I'm going to leave it there. No one wants to hear from Jen Psaki or freaking Joe Scarborough. But yeah, I had to break this down just to show that this is what they're doing. Notice how suddenly they care about Republican voters. Hey, we care about your opinions. We care about your concerns. We care about the things that are important to you now whenever they can build an anti-Trump narrative around it, because that's all they care about. That's going to continue. This DeSantis Trump thing will continue. And yes, Trump has added to it. Of course he has. But the media is trying their best to create this massive divide. And suddenly now they care about Trump voters. Trump voters wouldn't have even talked to the media. Wouldn't talk to your stupid focus group. But hey, some guy in California with Space Mountain behind him is impressed with DeSantis. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for checking out this video. I appreciate it. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later.